I was just really moved that the film was able to turn out as beautiful as it did. I really cared a lot about the story of Chris McCandless being told right. The book meant so much to me when I read it, and I had gotten to know, Chris's family, and I wanted his memory to be as well presented, as possible in this film, and I was really happy when it was. He's better than other directors for the most part because because he was an actor for so long, he understands everything that's going on with his actors. We had a scene where, there'd be maybe something I'd be hesitant to do, and he'd have faith that I could do it, and it would give me a lot of confidence because I would know that, were he to have played this part in this movie, he would demand that much more out of himself. So I would always know that Sean himself would do it. Yeah, I think, when you read the book, you get an impression of Chris, but, after playing him and getting to know all those people in his family, I feel like I know him in a different way, Doing all the research on him, you just learn parts about someone that you never knew before, and kind of makes you identify with him a lot more. And I don't know, it's weird. Even though I never met him, I kind of feel like I know him. Well, I recently went to the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa on a trip for Oxfam, which is the non-profit non-government organization. We were seeing some of the different parts of the country that Oxfam works with, a lot of the kind of more impoverished areas, and that was something that I had gotten into through Into the Wild, because Chris McCandless donates all of his money to the charity, and the charity that he donates it to is Oxfam. And I got hooked up with Oxfam through Into the Wild, so it was kind of this really, I don't know, like serendipitous thing that had happened, but it turned out to be this quite amazing adventure to Africa for me. Yeah, it's challenging because, when you lose that much weight, you're just hungry all day, every day. It's like when you really want to eat, before you have lunch and you're really hungry. It's just like that feeling, but all day, every day. And you just gotta run a lot and eat healthier than you would ever want to, and be willing to dream of candy all day.
Okay.
That's what it takes. I'd like everybody to see the film. I think it's a film that offers something for everyone. Just like, Chris meets Hal Holbrook, or Ron is his character's is the character in the movie. He's in his 80s, and I just think it's for everyone. It's from 80 to 23 or younger. It's weird. This film has a really strong kind of teenage audience. Recently in the United States, the film was nominated for the Teen Choice Awards for Best Picture at the Teen Choice Awards. The other films were like films that were obviously teen movies, but the fact that this film was also nominated for a Teen Choice Award, I really think speaks to the fact that it really connected with that teenage audience, because you would never think at first that this would be like a teen, The other movies are like high school movies, very, very, very teen kind of film. Alaska is always going to kind of have that special place for me, is going to be that special place, just because so much of what I did there, I did it by myself, there were no other actors. So it was that kind of personal, isolation and the challenge. And also the terrain there is just very different than any other place we went to. It was just a lot of mountains and snow, and then the seasons changed and the snow went away, and we had you know, these kind of really lush areas. Although the mosquitoes I could have done without those. There was a very large amount of mosquitoes. I mean, it's literally a swarm of mosquitoes. You can't believe it. You know, there's a scene with Hal Holbrook. It's Hal's last scene in the film, when he's saying goodbye to Chris. And to me, that scene was always just something really special about it, where, you know, this old man kind of opens his heart to Chris. And, you know, in that scene, you see the kind of the ultimate flaw that Chris has, and it kind of comes out on his like inability to have a certain kind of intimacy with people, and the kind of the devastation on other people that can kind of wreak. Some of the physical kind of task scenes where Chris is kind of setting up his place in Alaska, you know, the kind of the hunting scenes, or just be climbing up a hill take after take, or, you know, also going down a river of ice water naked. I mean, I'm all for the ice plunge in the spa, but you know, the ice river was really, really cold, colder than the ice bath. I think it's important to always be mindful of those kinds of things, and to not focus on the wrong things in your life, and to not give the wrong things importance. Yeah, I mean, I think that I really agree with him in a big way, you know. If I'm around people who are too materialistic, I just get not interested in them, or just kind of disgusted, and it's just not, it's not attractive to me. You know, happiness is only real when shared is something that Chris writes down from his reading. And that's a really important part of the whole theme of the movie, and lesson that kind of Chris learns. And I think that that's really important. So it's like, happiness is only real when shared. You know, I think that that kind of thirst for adventure is something that, you know, I identify with in Chris, and I think that a lot of people do. You know, everyone wants to go on that adventure of a lifetime, and get out and experience those things. Well, my next film is called Milk, and it's starring Sean Penn, believe it or not. And in it, he plays Harvey Milk, a famous San Francisco politician who was openly gay. It was a famous story in 1978, and I play one of his kind of campaigners, this guy named Cleve Jones, who was this kind of, you know, he had a bullhorn, and he would like lead a lot of kind of marches and stuff, and so I play kind of his right-hand man in the campaign, and it was fun to get to work with him on screen. I mean, I really look up to Sean, you know, more than any other actor, in terms of the kind of work that he puts out, and, you know, just who he is and the way he operates. I'm really a big fan of his, and I mean, but I would never want to have anyone's career in the sense of having that exact thing. You know, it's like we all have our own path. You know, an actor can never have another actor's career. You know, you can only have actors that you admire, you know, just like anything else. I'd really like to work with Steven Spielberg someday. I've always loved his movies, and I think he's just a terrific director, and seems like he'd be a lot of fun to work with, actually.
I'm going to Alaska.
Alaska?
The wild.
On bended knee is no way to be free. Lifting up an empty cup by our side. All my destinations will accept the one that's me.
君の青春はなぜアラスカの大地に消えたのか。イントゥ・ザ・ワイルド。